All Things Black with Garland and Calvin present Fanboys. Fanboys is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Now, here are your hosts, Garland and Calvin.
All Things Black presents Fanboys.
We back like Jordan in the 4-5.
We back. I'm Calvin. This guy next to me is Garland. And we're definitely back. Like he said in the 4-5, we don't know if we're going to jump to 23.
4-5.
We don't know what we're going to do. We thinking about a name change too, but Garland keep coming up with these. We're going to have to present it to the people and see what they say. Because Garland be coming up with these extreme names. I thought mine was extreme. Garland should be extreme. Hey, we back.
We ain't gonna mention them.
Wait a minute. We back, Jay. We back, Jay.
This podcast, this episode is dedicated to Jay.
Jay,
this is all for you.
One of the crew, our homeboy. And listen, we dedicating it to you, but like they say now, no Diddy, but we dedicated it to you.
Right. The lexicon didn't change since we last recorded.
No Diddy.
No Diddy, Jay, but this is dedicated to you.
Yeah, I hope Diddy don't hear that because he's rumored to be out killing people off and making them sick. Anyway, so what's going on, Garland? How you doing?
Diddy gonna trademark that. Before you know it, it's gonna be like trademark. You buy that shirt, it's going straight to Sean John.
And then every time somebody say it, you're gonna get a letter in the mail. It ain't gonna be the cease and desist. It's gonna be the cease and Diddy. Take that. That's how it's gonna start off. Take that. Or,
yeah, man.
Or give me that money that you using my phrase.
Right. The Diddy Defense Fund. He need that money. Say he ain't got his Ciroc money. He ain't got Sean John no more. He need his money. And so watch how you say that. No Diddy. He businessman enough that he going to trademark that. Did
he get that revolt up yet? I know he was trying to sell it, but then
he diversed himself. He
finally got it.
Okay,
he finally got it. Okay.
And so Diddy, he gonna need that money. So go out and buy them No Diddy t-shirts over at Patapsco Flea Market.
Man, one day
they might pop up in there.
One day we need to talk about the fall of our. I don't want to say, I'll say icon. I don't want to say, I guess he is a legend. Because back in the 90s, early 2000s, it was all about Bad Boy, man.
I give it to you for your generation of hip hop fans.
It's all about Bad Boy.
For real, I mean, Diddy, he had Big, he had Craig Mack, he had Faith Evans, 112. Yeah,
remember they did the Bad Boy reunion tour a couple years ago, and it was a monster of a tour.
Had hits.
So
he had hits.
I can't take nothing from him. He cultivated. Fashion. He cultivated a generation. For us, it was all about.
He was this generation's Bill Cosby.
Anyway, how things going, Garland? How you doing, sir? By the way, before Garland answers, we are live on YouTube. So if you follow us on YouTube, good morning and welcome. We're live on YouTube.
It was this generation's Bill Cosby. That was a good one.
I'm doing well, man. On all your podcast platforms.
I'm doing well, man. I want to give a shout out to my wife. Next week on April the 11th, I'll be married 32 years. And
woo!
Yeah.
Paula.
Yeah.
Paula, he giving you a shout out. I'm giving you a prayer because I've been knowing the dude for maybe 10 years and I can't stand him. So I don't even how you did it 32 years.
She's still with me. Yeah. I mean,
Paula, an angel.
I guess she's saying it's cheaper to keep him.
She probably figured if you go anywhere, you're gonna be calling her every day anyway.
Right.
Might as well just keep you right here. So ain't no need.
Shoot. I ain't going to my parents' house. Man. Thank you.
Congratulations,
sir. Thank you. Yeah. I was a wee bit. No gray hair. I didn't even have any chin hair in 1992 when I got married. I just had a plain old mustache.
That's what's up, man.
So that's what's up, man. Let's jump into it.
Okay.
All right, man, let's go ahead. Women's Final Four, men's Final Four. The women's Final Four kicked off the Final Four weekend. They finally got this right because several years ago, it was disjointed. It was like the men's Final Four was one weekend and then the women's Final Four was another. Yeah. Somebody must have sat down and thought, hey, let's kind of put these things together and let them run. Maybe COVID made it happen that way. Thank you, COVID. And so the women's Final Four kicked off our Final Four weekend, and in the first game of the women's Final Four, which took place last night, undefeated South Carolina exploded in the second half and blew out NC State by double digits. But the nightcap was closer with the perennial women's powerhouse UConn facing Caitlin Clark and fan favorite Iowa, and the game came down to a controversial referee call, which gave Iowa a win by 2 points. And so, what are your thoughts on that call? And can Iowa beat South Carolina?
So let's start with the call. And if you look at the replay in slow motion now, he had to do it in real time. If you look at the replay in slow motion, it was a foul. It was definitely a moving pick.
Yeah.
However, it was ticky-tacky, and like everyone says, you cannot make that call at that time. Now, that is their job to make the call, but going regular speed, it had to be a questionable call. Like, you only see that it's a foul in slow motion. There's no other way you can see that. Now, maybe he has all eyes in this, but that call, you just don't. It was under 10 seconds left in the game. It was 5 seconds left. You can't make that call, sir. You can't make that call.
Yeah, I agree. You let them play it out. Them play it out. Let them. I mean, unless it's egregious. That was not egregious.
Exactly.
It was right in the gray area. It was on the borderline. You let that go. I did not like that call. Now, I'm not going to come out with the conspiracy theories because that's what happens.
Of course.
They want to see the white girl play in the finals. They want to get.
But they had the white girl. This was if you are MAGA, this was your game. This was not Juju against Angel Reese like right. We wanted.
No.
This was Paige Becker against Caitlin Clark.
They don't want South Carolina to win that game. South Carolina is a bunch of sisters, and they got some Brazilians or whoever else on that team.
Yeah, Cardoso.
Cardoso.
Yeah, let me tell you.
I will say this, that I'm not going to subscribe to the conspiracy theory that, okay, they want to kick, because, Caitlin has been the face of women's college basketball this season. She has been the face. I can't tell you how many times they're on the national game for the women's game, how much they're doing all of these articles and features on her. And so
all the commercials.
Now she's got I forget what commercial is, Verizon. So she's got that commercial. She's got the commercials now. And so it definitely has been a pull nationally for Caitlin Clark. And so I'm not going to say, this was a fix to get her to the finals. I'm sure ESPN is happy because, trust me,
of course,
people are going to be tuning in to see the little Midwest white girl take down the sisters at South Carolina.
Now, I'm going to tell you, so I'm not a – so I look at Caitlin Clark like I've looked at Larry Bird in his career. Not a huge fan because he plays for a team and she plays for a team that beats the teams that I like, but cannot deny that.
Oh, she's a great player.
Oh, my God. So there was a question of if she wins the championship, does that make her the greatest ball player? We talked about this before with no rings. Does that make her the greatest college ball player ever? I'm not going to say it'll make her the greatest, but it's going to put her up there because she has broken pretty much every record, man. And the girl is just, I can't take nothing from her. In that matchup last night against Paige Beckers, who's actually supposed to be a little better than her. They both came out in the same class. Beckers was ranked 1 at that year, and Paige and Caitlin was ranked 4. Beckers didn't produce like she should have. She didn't get any clutch. She got 1 clutch basket. But this next round, remember, this is the rematch of the Final Four game of last year where Caitlin Clark waved off the point guard. I can't remember her name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, waved off the point guard.
Johnson, that plays for South Carolina.
Yeah, waved off the point guard, and she actually came in the Final Four not Final Four, in the Elite 8 game last week, and said that broke her spirit, and she almost quit basketball because of that. But now she's Raven Johnson. That's her name, Raven Johnson. And she's been killing. I know they've been. I bet you, listen, as much as we may have wanted UConn to win, South Carolina wanted they wanted Iowa to win. They want them. They want Caitlin Clark again. They need to get this win against her. It's going to be a brutal matchup come Sunday. It's going to be brutal. So I'm pulling for South Carolina. I don't think Iowa has enough, but they've been surprising me. That girl, that black girl they got down there in the center, I posted about her this morning. I can't, of course, Hannah, whatever her name is. She was killing, but she doesn't rebound. She was
We're
killing.
We're a sports show, y'all. We don't know the names, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, we forget the names, but she the girl that got the little,
right. She got the Afro puffs. Looks like the woman of rage.
Hey,
Afro puffs. Rage.
But it should be a good game. Her against Cardoso. The thing is, like I said, she doesn't rebound. Cardoso does it all. So that should be a good battle down low. But it's going to be a good game. I think South Carolina is on a mission. Plus, Iowa beat LSU. Last year when Iowa beat South Carolina, LSU and Angel Reese basically said this was our revenge game for South Carolina because you're not going to be talking trash to our friends. This might be the revenge game for LSU, South Carolina. Like y'all took care of us last year, we're going to take care of y'all this year.
It's going to be a good game. I'm expecting South Carolina to win. I do think Caitlin Clark is a great player. She does need to win a championship to be considered the greatest. I think Breanna Stewart said it. They interviewed her, asked her what she thought as well. One of the best women players in the game today in the WNBA. But there's so many great players that came before Caitlin that were not in the internet era. Maya Moore, Taurasi. It's a lot of great players. Cheryl Swoops, Cheryl Miller, Shamika Holtzclaw. A whole bunch of we can even put Candace Parker in there because she was right at the cusp of
They showed some highlights of Candace Parker on TikTok the other day, and I was like, "Oh my God, Candace Parker was a monster."
Lisa,
we knew it then. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so there have been a lot of great players. I'm not ready to put her, Asia Wilson. I'm not ready to put her at the top yet. I'm not ready to put her at the top.
I don't know, man. If she wins this championship, I'm gonna have to give her at least top 15. I'm gonna have to give her that. Yeah. The girl has broken scoring records. She's inside the tournament. She's broken assist records.
Yeah, I'm not hating on her game. I just think
records.
I gotta give her. If we do a whole accounting.
Now, her style of play is a lot different than some of the other girls
built to today's game.
About. Yeah,
it's built to today's game.
So
like I told you one time we were talking about this, basically the 3-point line was ignored probably up until the year 2000, maybe 2005 or 10. Basically teams were not 3 points was not really a part of an offensive scheme of a team. And then once we got Steph Curry and the explosion of shooting 3-pointers, now we see more people able to shoot it. But back then, you had a specialist who came in and they shot the 3-pointer. Okay. But Caitlin's game, yes, she's got the 3-pointer, but she got a little handle. So I'm not denigrating her game. I'm just recognizing the others. Now it's crazy that we can name several players from this women game, but outside of Zach Edney, name at least 3 people in this men's games.
So we got Zach Edey.
Zach Edey.
He shoots hot fire. And listen, the man is like what, 7 foot? He cut down the nets without
or something. Yeah,
cut down the nets without getting on the ladder. But yeah, that's another thing. The women's game now is much more popular than the men's game.
They're talking more. I can't tell you outside of Zach Edey. I couldn't tell you any of the 5 starters on UConn, which is the defending champions.
And
I know the big boy on NC State. I just know him as Big Boy. I don't know his name.
Yeah, the big boy that looked like he looked like, what's his face? He reminds me, it looked like Big Baby. He
looked like Big Baby with dreads.
Like Big Baby, yeah. I'm with you on that. And then and the thing is, UConn is supposed to be the favorite team. Like it's supposed to be this UConn Purdue matchup come Monday
champions.
night. And they went on a 30-point run, a 30-0 run, which is unheard of. You know, they went on that 30-point run, and it's but it's so I think it also has a lot to do with them leaving early. The big names always leaving early. I mean, so you don't really get attached to them. The women, they stay there. You know,
women are there a little longer. And I mean, shoot, the last draft, we talked about this during the NBA draft. The first 5 picks, 4 of them did not go to college. And the year before that, the first pick did not go to college. And so, you know, we're starting to see more players coming from Europe, getting different channels to get to the league. They're only staying 1 year at the most if they're going there. I think the last player that I really got excited about in college was Zion Williamson.
Zion, I was about to say Zion. Yeah, that was the last one.
That's the last one.
Remember, Zion was so popular that President Obama went to the game, to see him play. That was a huge game.
That was a huge game, and so and that was really the last time you had this big. Oh my God, you know, this is fantastic. Now there is some games today. It's the men. You know, try to figure it out for yourself. They start this evening. NC State, they face the number 1 seed. I think they were in the Midwest. It's Purdue. And then the defending champs, UConn, they're facing Alabama in the night game, in the after the second game, in the nightcap. And so check those games out. Right now, I'm thinking UConn probably runs through this and repeats as champions, which will put them in the blue blood of universities like your Dukes, like your North Carolinas, like your UCLAs, teams with Floridas, teams with multiple championships.
You don't think UConn was already there? I mean, back in the
day, I think they got there last year. I think
when they had, because when they had Jim Calhoun as head coach, remember they had like a Mecca Okafor.
I think they won 3 with Jim Calhoun.
I think they've been there. It's just they fell off a little while, but then they caught another one with the assistant coach
Kevin Ollie.
Kevin Ollie, And so I think UConn was already there in the blue bloods of the game.
Yeah. So check that out. But there's another blue blood, and he's taking his talents to the NBA. Why, I don't know. Maybe the big are the big 3? Do they have a draft process? Did he declare for the big 3 draft?
We've had this discussion.
Let me go ahead and prep it up. USC freshman Bronny James will enter the 2024 NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility and will also enter the transfer portal. James has been expected to have a major impact on USC, but a July cardiac arrest episode and a procedure to treat congenital heart defect sidelined him for 5 months and severely impacted his productivity as a freshman at USC. He averaged 4.8 points a game, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists in 19 minutes a game. And so I don't know if he declared for the big 3. Did he declare for is And1 coming back? Is he declaring for And1? Is Bronny going to be drafted, or will he be back in college next year?
Real quick, you mentioned big 3. Remember, Ice Cube offered Caitlin Clark $5 million to pay him.
He need to offer Bronny $5 million.
Now we've had this. Garland and I and a couple friends have had the discussion on Bronny James, and I'm one that always felt like Bronny James, not a lottery pick, but he would be a draft pick. However, I didn't think it would be this year. I thought it would be 1 more year in college and then become a draft pick, maybe second round. Garland doesn't think he's even a second round.
You're not race a second round on this man. You better sign him as a free agent.
Well, you know, he also put himself in the transfer portal. Yes. So I think what he's probably going to do is just go test the waters. We know he's not going to be a lottery pick. But he's out here testing the waters just to see. And then he'll go back to the transfer portal, transfer to a team where he can start. And we'll see from there. If he comes out this year, I think it's going to be a mistake. Maybe possibly he's doing it because him not being a high pick probably guarantees that he can be drafted by LA because, you know, LeBron runs the Lakers. So the Lakers won't have a lottery pick. I don't even know if they, with that Anthony Davis deal, I don't even know if they have a first round pick this year. maybe they finally got the first round picks back, but he may be able to get drafted by the Lakers, which of course LeBron wants to play with him. Maybe that's the thinking. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's crazy because the head coach Infield that was there at USC, he left to take the SMU job.
Okay,
and so they bringing Musselman. I'm trying to think where he was coaching. Eric Musselman. He's going to be the new USC coach. There was rumors Bronny. He visited University of Maryland. Someone had a snapshot of him there on the campus or something that was on Twitter. And so, he is looking, maybe he might end up at SMU. SMU is going to be playing in the ACC. And so it's going to be a competitive conference. I mean, you had at least 4 ACC teams in the Sweet 16. You have one that's in the Final Four. And you had, I think, at least the other 3, they made the Elite 8. And so you had several of those teams do very well. ACC wound up being a very competitive conference versus what the Pac-12 is. Not even going to be a Pac-12 anymore after the season, since all the teams are leaving. And so I hope he goes to another college. Maybe he follows the former head coach at USC to SMU. But I've been seeing a lot of little clips, little reels of some NBA players talking about, Bronny, he didn't have a college game, but he has a pro game. And I'm trying to think, what? You're telling me a guy that averaged 5 points a game, 3 rebounds a game, and 2 assists a game, he wasn't even getting major minutes. He only got 19 minutes a game. He is a NBA player? You're trying to convince me this.
It's that
I know LeBron controls the algorithm on these social media. So all these people capping because they want to be with LeBron.
Exactly.
That's what I put it up to. Y'all capping. Y'all capping for your boy. Y'all capping for nephew.
We talked about, remember I told you I blame LeBron James for all this camaraderie in the NBA. Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Magic would never. If EJ was trying to play in the NBA, Charles Barkley would be the first to be like, EJ is terrible.
Right?
I don't even know why his daddy letting him come in. You know what? Let him come in, and I will take him to the hole. No Diddy, but I will take him to the hole. EJ is terrible.
EJ sucks. No Diddy. But yeah, man, they capping. Ain't no way in God's green earth you're going to tell me a guy that averaged in low single digits he was more suited for the NBA versus college. If he was that dominant, he should have went in college and just totally dominated, totally took over. A couple of them, I was like, oh my God, Juju Watkins, is this the reverse of Love and Basketball? I don't know if he with Juju Watkins or not, but Juju Watkins is the Omar Epps character, and Bronny is the Sanaa Lathan character.
So in a couple years, he gonna be like, Juju, I want to play for your heart.
Right. What we playing for? Your heart.
And then she gonna start dunking on him.
Double or nothing.
You're so wrong, yo. You're so wrong.
I'm telling you, man. So no. Come on, algorithm, stop.
But
y'all gonna stop with this. Bronny is more made for the NBA than he was for college because he's a nothing burger in college.
But if you do want to use that Love and Basketball analogy, at the end, it was Sanaa that went to the WNBA and played for the Sparks while Omar was on the side watching the kids. So Bronny will be playing for the Lakers, a star, while, I'm just saying, Gigi gonna be on the side with the babies. I'm just saying.
Ain't gonna happen.
First of all, we don't even know if they seeing each other.
Right, I don't know, but I just put them together.
Already put them together. And
I think I saw that they were dating in Jet magazine or something. I don't even know Jet stuff. They went to the same high school, so I don't know. Anyway. we wish you the best, Bronny. You know, Ice Cube, get on this, get your money up, because Bronny probably could play in your league for a little bit, get y'all some more exposure and stuff like that. So he can go pay for MAGA Cube.
I would, you know what? You said I didn't know he visited College Park. I would welcome him in College Park.
I think, come on, one more year college, at least get into double figures.
Yeah, I always thought I thought he needed one more year of college. That's one more year. We discussed that. I didn't think this was, but that's probably the plan anyway, just to see where he would end up, just to test the waters. Or like I said, if the Lakers have a chance to get him, they might just pull the trigger on him, just so he can be there with his dad, because that was the ultimate goal of LeBron, to play with his son.
Definitely. Play ball. Opening week started over a week ago, and we were at opening day. Calvin had some tickets for us and all, and so we were there, up in the bleeds, but it was great. It was a great day. It was cold, but it was great. It was cold. And the Orioles put it on the Angels. Had a fantastic time. Orioles, they've started the season 5-2. They won yesterday. They beat the Pirates in their opening day game out in Pittsburgh, in some snow showers and hail, and several things happened out there. But the O's, they started the season by sending their top prospect, Jackson Holiday, down to AAA Norfolk, along with several other players, that most people think should be in the big leagues right now. As a matter of fact, they're tearing the cover off the ball in Norfolk. I mean, they are killing it. Kerstad, Kobe Mayo, they're killing the ball down there. And so was sending Holiday to AAA the right move?
So it depends on your thinking and who you ask. Of course, for the Orioles organization, to keep that control, that extra year of control over him, it makes sense for him. If you ask the fans, we want to see Jackson Holiday up in the majors, but take the opportunity when the tickets are a lot less expensive to go to Norfolk and see him there. We missed him when he was in Harford County and Aberdeen. We missed him when he was in Bowie. So now we got to take a trip down to Norfolk and see him. It's really hard to say, because you got to figure who you're going to move out of there. You can't just add one and not move someone else. Of course, they're all looking at this guy. What's the veteran's name? Tim. I can't remember his name. He was playing second base the other night.
Kemp.
Kemp. So everybody's looking at him like, well, why is he playing? And we got Jackson Holiday down there. Right. So, but it's just going to depend on who you want to move out of the way. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Everyone else does. They're down there, and the miners killing it. We're all thinking that he's going to be up prior to June. He's going to come up sometime in May, but we'll see. Baseball is such an integral sport when they make their moves. Unlike football and basketball and all, baseball is so intricate with their moves. It's really hard to tell if it is a good move. They'll also say that he can't hit lefties as well, but I mean, he's down there in the minors, just killing it.
He's hitting the ball. He's hitting lefties. It's all about time. It's about time serve. You control the service time on the player. It gives you an additional year on the life of their contract. And so the Orioles played the same game with Manny Machado. They didn't do it with Gunnar Henderson. That's why they were able to get an additional pick, I think, because the Major League has put in some incentives to keep teams from doing that, because most of your good teams are doing that, where they have a top prospect and they're holding them back at least maybe 2 seasons before they bring them up, because they get to get an additional year of service time. And so he went through the system pretty fast, like you said last year. I mean, he was in he was in Harford County one day. I'm like, I'm gonna go see the game. Next week he was gone. He was in Bowie. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go down to Bowie. About 3 weeks after that, he was in Norfolk. And so he moved through the system very fast last year. Give him some bats down there. I think he's going to be here by the summer. I do. I think if they're really, really in the thick of it, now they're going to make the playoffs with the current roster that they have. They can make the playoffs with that. But I think if they want some more punch, they're going to have to bring up some of those guys that are down there. So I'm looking at Austin Hayes. you're kind of on the line. I want to see Austin Hayes, kind of bat pick up. Maybe once it gets warm, he'll start swinging the bat better. I know they got Urias up here more so for his glove than for his bat. But can we put Westberg at third or Mayo at third and get better production bat wise and get equally glove wise? I like Jordan Westberg, but maybe he can split second with Jackson Holiday until you feel comfortable with playing Holiday every day. Mateo. I know, Jason. That's your boy, Mateo. I don't know why. He must have pictures of Brandon Hyde.
Yeah,
he got something because he's not an outfielder and his glove is even suspect on the infield. Yeah, he's just fast. It's just fast. Like, if we need a pinch runner, let's just put him out there and have him run for people. Like when we get the extra innings and the man gets to automatically go to second, you start off the inning with the person at second. Let's just go ahead and put him there. That's his designation, but he can't give you much else than that. And so I think we'll see Holiday before the season's over. I think we'll see some of those guys up here before the season's over, and we'll see how it goes. And so what is your prediction in terms of wins this year? Now, you were right on, you predicted 100 wins last year.
I predicted over 100 wins last year.
Did they get 101?
They got over 100 last year because I was right. Because you were the one.
I said 80-ish.
And then you were like, they're just gonna get 100. They're not getting over 100. And they got over 100. Like Garland, listen,
I'm listening to you. That's why I'm deferring to you first. How many wins do you think they're gonna get?
First and foremost, shout out to the Orioles because we gotta. When have we had this problem in Baltimore where the team is so good in the majors that you're looking at the minors like, damn, they so good. We got a log jam. It's like a traffic jam of players in
probably
Baltimore.
Been since the 70s. When the team was in Rochester and they had Eddie down there and all those players and stuff.
Even back in the mid late 90s and the mid 2000 teens when they had good teams, we still weren't looking in the minors like, you got to bring some of these guys up. This is a great problem to have. So let me see how many wins this year. Wow, man. It's tough. And they've pulled out 2 comeback wins against the Royals. It's tough because they're not going to be overlooked anymore. They're favored to win the East again. So each team is going to bring their best shot. They're not sneaking up on anybody anymore.
Right.
Whew. Oh, man. I'm going to give them between 105 110 wins.
What?
Yep.
You're talking some Dodger numbers.
Well, and it's all because of the starting pitching. Even though he didn't look great, the ace didn't look great. Burns didn't look great his last outing, but it's the starting pitching. They got two legit starters on the team now. So
Rodriguez and Burns.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give them that between 105 and 110, somewhere in that range.
All right, I got you down.
What you got him at? 76.
66 wins this year. No, these guys, they can rake. Now, if there's anything they can do, they can hit the ball.
They can hit that ball.
Top of that order is doing a lot of work. They have left a lot of people on base down towards the bottom of the order, but I think as it gets warmer, people get into the swing of things. I think that'll correct itself. I'm predicting between 95 and 100 wins. I think
you're not giving them over 100 again.
Not giving them over 100 this year because the AL East it remains thick. I mean, the Yankees added Juan Soto. The Boston added a couple players. The Rays are always going to be there. That's really where their competition is going to be. That's where it's going to be. I'm not saying that they're not going to sweep teams, but they're going to be facing some pretty formidable teams there. I don't think there's too much in the West, although you do have the defending champions out there in the Rangers. But Yeah, I'm thinking between 95 to 100 wins in a very competitive AL East.
Boston is they play Boston next week. They got a series in Boston next week.
And then I think we got tickets to they play the Brewers at the end of next week. Am I correct?
Right. Yeah. Our tickets are for Friday night, and then we come back around to the following Tuesday night game. Right. I forgot who that's against.
Yeah, so be there for that. All right. And so sports, man.
You're gonna start respecting the Orioles.
I respect the Orioles.
95 to 100 win.
95. I think they win the division. They're definitely going to win that division, but I don't think it's going to be like 100 and over 100, 101, 105 wins. It's a tough division. I'm sorry, it's just a tough division. You had 3 playoff teams out of that division last year.
You gonna 3? Start?
No, 2. You had the Rays and the Orioles. The Yankees were there, but they did not. Were the Yankees in the playoff game? Look that up. And anyway,
you're gonna start respecting our O's.
Oh my God, man! I've been down with the old O's since Lynn Cicada and Doug the Sensei,
Mark Belanger.
Come on, Kiko Garcia,
John Lowenstein.
Don't play me. Gary Renicky. Come on, man. Al Bumry, Ken Singleton, Pat Kelly, Andres Mora. Come on, bro. You gonna stop with me? You gonna stop?
Yeah.
Rayful, Floyd Rayful, the black
you
catcher.
were down then. But as soon as Melvin Moore was the star of the team, you started being like, man, the Orioles ain't going. The Melvin Moore years were a struggle, boy. Shout out to Melvin Moore because he held it down for Baltimore.
Randy Milligan, come on, bro. I've been with this team.
Mike Devereaux, Devo out there.
Devo.
Sam Horn.
Bro, don't play. Sam Horn hit all them home runs that first game against the Royals, and they never do nothing else after that. That rest of that season, I think he hit 3 home runs that first game. You gonna stop? Oh my God, yeah, man. So no, I'm with the O's. All right, so let's keep on going, man. 3 weeks ago, your boy Shohei Ohtani, his interpreter, he was fired for allegedly stealing over $4 million to cover gambling debts, allegedly, because at first he said that Shohei gave him the money, and then all of a sudden Shohei's a representative like, whoa. We did not understand question. He did not give him money.
It's so wild. They don't speak English.
I misunderstood it English. It was not clear. No, he did not give. He took money. Shohei then lost all his English after that. They be asking Shohei questions. He'd be like, shrimp fried ice? Eddie Murphy? Anyway, so, Shohei, his boy got fired. NBA, they're investigating Denver Nuggets forward Michael Porter's brother, who played on Toronto, after large sums of money were bet on him on the under for him in various categories across 2 games.
He guilty. Listen, they threw out that evidence, and I was like, bro, guilty. He guilty.
He didn't call his people like, look, I'm a come out in the 4th quarter. Put the under. How many shots I got?
Yeah, what's the over under?
What's the over under that?
Right. I got you.
Yo. Just go ahead and put the money down. Man, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers head coach JB Bickerstaff. He said he receiving threats from fans because he's taking players out the game, and fans are mad because they got parlays on them. And we've already had several NFL players suspended for placing bets while in the team facilities. Sports got into bed with gambling. It's been about 3 years now. This is not going well, Calvin. This is not going well at all. I mean, you can barely watch TV now, like Sports Center. They have their own book. Mm-hmm. You watch it, they're talking about the games, and they in each segment talking about what the parlay and what the lines are. Mm-hmm. And so now, I mean, gambling has taken over professional sports, and to think that it's not going to leak into the players and to them possibly throwing games. We already had Tim Donaghy saying that they were throwing games back in the day, former NBA referee. I mean, what you think the future of this is, Calvin?
So let's be clear. This isn't new. This isn't just happening, but it's like the internet era when we talked about police brutality. It's just now starting to be exposed because now we're starting to show it and prove it. Now that gambling is legal, now you're starting to get some of these people, some of these sports athletes exposed. But this has been going on for years. Point shaving, you know, it's been going on for years. It's not going to do anything but get worse. There's not much regulation you can do because it's been regulated. It's legal now. You're not going to stop Bernie Bickerstaff. He's not going to stop getting death threats. Let's look at fantasy football. You know, if you remember, a lot of the players in football some years ago were like, I don't care about your fantasy team. Like they were like, you know, people be like, oh man, I needed you to get fantasy sports. Yeah, I needed you to get another yard or two in this thing. If you remember when the refs went on strike, the refs went on strike a few years ago. They had the replacement refs. You remember one of the refs told, I can't remember who the player was. He got a touchdown. He said the ref ran up to him and was like, yeah, you on my fantasy team. What? What?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
So yeah, it's if anything, it's going to get bigger. The money's going to get bigger. The stakes are going to go higher. So you're not going to stop it. You just hope that there's some integrity in these players to not bet on their own sport, bet on themselves, you know, bet on their team. That's the only thing you can hope for. You can make stiffer penalties for them, but it's not going to stop. It's going to keep growing. The money's going to get bigger. They're going to find new ways to do it. They make it easier and easier for people to place bets now. I mean, you got people that don't even watch sports in it. All up and down my timeline, especially during football season.
Right.
There are people that I know don't really watch sports showing their parlays. Like, man, I just missed. He was supposed to score 10 points and he only got 8. You're looking like, do you even know who that is? Or was he just random? Or they make it so easy for you. They already placed the parlay. All you got to do is click yes and put the money, how much money you want to bet on it. So they make it so easy for you. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, my daughter asked me about parlay during the football. So I'm like, all right, I know you're a casual watcher. You watch the Ravens games with your father, but you ain't that deep into the NFL that you trying to lay some parlays.
Exactly. My kids are like that also. My kids be sending me. They send me at the end of the day. They be like, "Look, Dad, I just missed it by 5 yards," and I'll be like, "The fuck."
Right. Y'all know nothing about no daggone football. But y'all laying parlays because we've made it. It's the new lottery. You know, when we grow, it's the dream of hitting the numbers, you know, the pick 3, the pick 4, box it, play it straight, you know, all those things. And yeah, I guess this is the new lottery that people think they can get rich off of these games and these parlays and all that stuff. And I think, you know, we're heading down a very tough field in terms of what's going to be happening on the playing field. To me, that's the concern. Not only are people going to be going into debt and losing their homes and, you know, getting addicted to gambling. Yes, we know that. That's why they put, hey, if you have a problem with these parlay, you know, call 1-800-GAMBLER and all that stuff. So they already know that people are going to be addicted from that. It's like we put out crack and we know we're going to create crackheads. And so although this crack is legal, we got a hotline for you so you can call for this crack. And I think it's the same thing that they've done with the sports. They know. But I'm concerned about the game, the integrity of the games. Now you got the kind of the guys down on the low totem pole. I mean, what if they do this? Now, I'm sure Major League Baseball does not want to know if Shohei bet on games. That's the concern. They trust me, this is going to drag out. I'm sure they do not want to find out if Shohei bet on, if his interpreter put some money on games for him.
Easily their biggest star. He's easily their Major League Baseball biggest star.
2-time MVP,
two-way player,
probably
international,
best two-way players ever. International, yeah, they don't want that. But yeah, you know, if we coming down to the Super Bowl and it's someone decides to slip on the 1-yard line instead of scoring an obvious touchdown and It's because they got the parlays out here. Or they had somebody put the money on it, or the referee who was going to call a moving pick in the last second of a game, And now every time I'm seeing these suspect calls, it's making me think like,
it makes you think
like, all right, who's controlling the money on this? And so we'll see. But I think it's the worst thing that ever happened to professional sports, that these teams have gotten in bed with the sports books. I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to sports. And speaking about that, also one of the worst things that ever happened to sports is just that the NCAA did not control NIL and all of these different things. And so a group of college presidents, NFL executives, and college conference commissioners are proposing the creation of a system that would have the top 70 programs, all members of the top 5, the Power 5 conferences, plus Notre Dame and new ACC member SMU, as permanent members of a 7-10 team division. And they would have a 8 division of teams that would be promoted from the second tier, similar to what soccer does in European leagues. You have teams that go up and teams that go down based on performance. And so the hopes is that they could control NIL, transfer portal, the money from the TV, and pay players directly instead of, because basically what we're having right now with the transfer portal is players are not necessarily leaving because they're not happy in the program. They're leaving for more NIL. It's a bidding contest now. That's what it's turned into. And so they want to try to regulate this. You think this is the best for college football?
So it's hard to say if it's the best because we've talked about this before, that the transfer portal definitely needs some tweaking. You have some of your stars that are leaving to go to another team and making super teams. So, but this is one of them things where, like you said, it's just about control. They're losing control of these players, and they're trying to regain that control. And anything that they do to try to control the players are going to fight against. And I don't know. So there has to be something done, but it's going to have to be something done down the middle that's going to benefit everyone. And the biggest thing with these college players now is that they just do not want to be controlled by the NCAA, because it's proven that the NCAA is basically making so much money off of them.
Sure.
They're not sharing the wealth. Even with NIL, that's not the NCAA sharing the wealth with them. NCAA is still making these billions of dollars off of them, but they threw a bone to the kids for, like, you can go ahead and get yourself a part-time job, but we're still your full-time employers. You know what I mean? So much. It's something's going to have to be done. I don't know if this is the answer because it's so intricate, and you're really asking teams to basically walk away from systems that they already know to start something completely different, almost like a whole new league. It's just a difference, same sport, but it's like the XFL or something, starting a whole new league. So I don't know if that is the answer.
Yeah, I think they have to come up with something. Salaries is something where you are controlling what players are paid, and it's even across the board. I think that's the only way that's going to stop this mass transferring in the portal. I'm glad that the players have the opportunity to do that, but it shouldn't just be for how much more money I could get, right, what better deal I can get. And I don't think that's what the portal, giving the open portal, was intended for, like basketball. And then they also need to control when it's done, like with basketball. Okay, the regular season, when the tournaments ended and they went into the NCAA tournament, March Madness, the transfer portal opened up. And so you had some teams were losing all of their roster and they were getting invites to the NIT. They couldn't field a team because they lost 3 or 4 or 5 players going into the portal. And so there are coaches. I think one coach said it. I'm preparing for the tournament, and also I got coaches who got to keep an eye in the portal to see who's in the portal and to make sure our players are safe here. And if there are players available that maybe we might be interested in. And so I'm trying to balance this thing while the tournament's going on. And so I think they just have to come up with a system, and they have to just make it even and fair across the board. And maybe this is it. I'm not quite sure, because people get greedy with money. And so if it's not beneficial to these colleges, which have made billions and billions of dollars and still do not want to release money, it's not going to happen. And so we'll see what happens. But great idea, but I'm not quite sure how much traction that would get. All right, so we're at a point in the program that everyone loves. Your and my favorite, Come On Yo. And so I'll go ahead and start off with the Come On Yo's. Emmanuel Acho.
Oh.
Come on, yo. Emmanuel Acho.
Oh, sir.
Earlier this week, after the LSU Women Tigers lost to Iowa in the Elite Eight, Angel Reese, through tears, shared that it was a difficult year for her because she had been harassed, sexualized unwantingly, by media and others, and threatened even online, and how this affected her self-esteem and her mental health. Now, Acho, who is a commentator on Fox Sports 1 show, Speak, that comes on at a time where most of us at work and don't even watch. And if we're watching, it's just to see Joy Taylor.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy. Exactly. Found fault with Reese for crying during the press conference, saying, and I quote, "She can't be the big bad wolf, but then cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog." Wow. We're calling our sisters dogs? Wow. So after a media outcry, mostly led by his female colleagues in media, Acho walked back those statements, but he has not apologized to Reese. Some allege that Acho's views of the matter was tainted by underlying disdain for Black women, while others painted the host as an Uncle Tom, parroting rhetoric handed down by his superiors at Fox. I don't know. All I know is this. There are a segment of Black men that just hate Black women. And I know that sounds kind of like, oh, that's extreme, Garland, but it is. They don't like Black women who do not fit into the classic patriarchal roles that they think women should fit into. If you're a woman, you got to be a lady. You got to have class. You have to carry your way in a way that's not offensive to a man. But we embrace those big dogs, those people who get out there and put the target on their back like Deion Subprime Sanders. I mean, he basically built his persona off of bragging. Muhammad Ali, all these other players that we've had across sports genres that have built their thing of challenging opponents and talking game and backing it up, which Reese has done. We accepted that. But when it came from a Black woman, it's a big no-no. You can't be out here and you want to be bad. She wasn't crying because she lost. She's crying because she's been carrying a heavy load for the last several months. And we got to recognize this. This is a 21-year-old baby. I'm old enough to be this girl grandfather, allegedly. But in the same, we got to watch this language. We got to watch this thing and this disdain for our women. And I think we have to break out of these patriarchal roles that we want to put women in. Women are smart. Women are strong. They can talk just as much stuff as a man can as well and back it up. And so I wish Reese the best. She's declared for the WNBA draft. But Emmanuel Acho, come on, yo. You've had these very twisted opinions about Black people, and I don't know, it's because your African background, you're Nigerian, and there's also that factor building in, and Native Africans' perceptions of African Americans, maybe that played into your viewpoint of what Reese was dealing with or saying. But let's start protecting our sisters. Let's start building them up in the places that they are.
Yeah, so Emmanuel, like you said, has had a history of saying some things that Black people aren't quite feeling. I believe Emmanuel was also the one that did his series on the police officers when it came to police brutality against Black people, where he was humanizing and trying to get people to sympathize with police officers, seeing it from their vantage point. Did a whole YouTube series on it. You know, Angel Reese is kicking down some doors that have never been kicked down for women before. And she is carrying a heavy load. Now, her tears were not only because of that load, but she's also played her last college game. How many of these players play their last college game, men and women, and come to tears? It's emotional. You know, you're moving on to something different. Like, he didn't take that into consideration. You know, she's not out there apologizing because they lost. She's crying because she's emotional about her next chapter in life and realizing that, man, I've done a lot. Like, come on, Emmanuel. I'm with you, yo. Come on, yo. Like, Emmanuel, you're kind of, and I'm glad that a bunch of his colleagues called him out, not just women, but men also. I'm very glad that a bunch of them called him out. So yeah, come on, Emmanuel.
Yeah, she didn't make herself the bad guy.
No, she just accepted it.
She accepted it.
She just accepted it. She didn't go out there saying, "I'm going to be Antonio Brown and I'm going to be the bad guy."
She wasn't Tony Montana. I'm the bad guy.
If anything, the one that makes himself the bad guy is Kim Mulkey, and you know,
I'm like, but you ain't got no smoke for Kim.
Yeah, I don't like him. Anyway, so. It's funny that you did something on women's basketball, because I'm going to do the same thing. Come on, NCAA. We just talked about this, and it is well known that this year and even last year, the NCAA basketball, the women's basketball stars are much more popular right now than the men's stars. And they're probably more popular than even some of the football stars. You know, these women are out here doing it. The NCAA was exposed a few years ago during the COVID, where they had the training facilities for the men state of the art, and the women just had a few dumbbells out there. And so they had to quickly run and try to fix that because the women were exposing them. Come on, NCAA. Your biggest star, probably college sports' biggest star, Caitlin Clark, was doing an interview about the upcoming Final Four game. And in the background were forklifts. You could hear the forklifts. That would never happen for any of the men's games. You could have either put those forklifts on hold, move the interview somewhere else. There's no reason for that. As soon as you saw the forklifts or started hearing them, it should have been cut. You should have moved it somewhere else. There is literally still no respect for arguably your biggest star right now. That's embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing that behind this NCAA Final Four banner or wall, whatever they put up, there's forklifts moving around, where she had to pause. She couldn't even hear questions. She had to stop a few times so they can repeat the questions. Come on, NCAA. You are embarrassing. How can you have this inequity between the men and the women in basketball right now when clearly the women are the draw? I guarantee you that the women's Final Four has more eyes on it than the men's Final Four. I guarantee you that. Women's Final Four had packed house. Women's Elite Eight had packed houses. Women's Sweet 16 games had packed houses. Should I even mention how you let the Sweet 16 game with the 3-point line uneven? Where is the respect for the women's game? They are the draw right now, and you are shitting the bed. You're showing your sexism. You're showing it, and it's ridiculous. Don't you have enough problem? How did what's her name say it in The Help? Ain't you tired? ain't you tired, NCAA? ain't you tired? Like you just keep doing shit to show that you're just a bunch of jerks. Ain't you tired, NCAA? You just come on, yo. Come on, NCAA. Come on, yo. Get it together. Do better. Do better.
Yeah, do better. I mean, you got grown men sitting home on a Friday night watching a game.
It's the buzz all over social media. It's the women's game.
It's
all over social media.
Nobody's talking to me about anything about the men's game.
Nothing.
Everything, if they're talking about basketball, is about the women's game.
Nothing. Yeah. So that's just my come on, yo, to the NCAA. They've been jerks forever, and they're just still jerks. But anyway, hey, we thank you for joining us. AJ, I hope this, helps. Yeah. I hope this helps you for,
Yeah, I hope this holds you for the week. Okay. God, we did a little something.
When we see you next Friday, just be like, thank you. You ain't even gotta say nothing else. Just thank you.
Around on you. Thank you, sir. That's thank yous right there. Around on you, sir. Thank you.
Hey, we thank everybody for joining us again. This is live on YouTube right now. And Jason, you can follow us on YouTube. Jason was like, y'all don't even have a YouTube. Sir, we have a YouTube channel.
Sir,
what are you talking about?
Oh my God.
So you can follow. It be your own peoples, yo.
You can't choose your family, yo. You can't choose your family.
Hey, we are live on YouTube, so thank you for following us there. You will see us on all the podcast platforms, and if you do have Spotify, you'll get to see these beautiful faces.
And he's trying to put it on. I got my Orioles shirt on today because I know he gonna stop. I know he gonna stop talking about me.
I mean,
only reason why I ain't got my hat on is because I got a haircut yesterday. I want to show off my hairline.
There should be no bald shaming. Like, that's what people hair shame you. People hair shame. It be your own friends, yo. Then I just say, you know what? Anyway, y'all, we thank you for joining us. We will definitely. So this is Saturday morning. I will do my best to get this out by Saturday evening, no later than tomorrow morning.
Look at the C cups.
We'll definitely see you next week because we're gonna have to keep doing this. And remember, we're gonna put something out there because we got a few names that we want to reinvent and change.
Yeah. One, I'm trying to hold on to this because I'm trying to think how it's going to sound on the intro music. It's got to roll off the tongue. I don't know if that rolls off the tongue.
Just wait till you see some of these names that Garland has, because I only got one that I'm sticking with.
I got to do a couple of those with those names. Those roll right off the tongue.
Anyway, we appreciate you all joining us, and we will see you all next week. Garland got us all kinds of offensive.
You have been listening to Fanboys.
Right, we're gonna be banned on Facebook.
Body shaming names and all kinds of shit.
Sure we embrace it. Ain't body shaming.
All of your podcast platforms.
Later, man.